In this episode, I'll take you through an exploration of the CFMOTO 450SR engine. By viewer request, we'll look inside to find its daddy. To see whose design it's actually copying. These titanium bolts were replaced by the owner himself. They are seriously lightweight. At the same time, let's look at this engine and see why its vibration is so minimal. Normally speaking, an engine with a 270-degree crankshaft should vibrate more than a conventional engine. It's equipped with a slipper clutch, and it's made by FCC Japan. The high-spec version of the CFMOTO 450SR uses the same clutch. Taking it apart to this point, we can see the bearing. They used a high-quality bearing too. An NTN bearing from Japan. This video is on the longer side, so please bear with me and watch through. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. As soon as I took off the cylinder head, I got this strong sense of déjà vu. I felt like I'd seen this kind of cylinder head layout a few years ago. But it wasn't on a CFMOTO. My slow brain finally figured it out. It was the chain tensioner that triggered my memory. Look at this tensioner. It looks just like the one on the Yamaha R6. The R6 uses exactly this kind of tensioner, and that made me think of the Yamaha MT-07. This cylinder head bears a striking resemblance to the Yamaha MT-07. Let's look at the valves. The valves are all in great shape. Then it suddenly clicked for me. Because the Yamaha MT-07 is also a twin cylinder with a 270-degree crank. Talk about a coincidence, right? Look at this cylinder head casting. We can pretty much confirm it's heavily based on that design. Let me pull up some photos to compare them for you. First, take a look at this shape. Now, please note that this photo is of the Yamaha MT-07. See how identical the cylinder head shapes are? I should say they look extremely similar, right? Take a look, guys. Right in this area. Even the bolt placement is the same. Now look at the camshaft journal caps inside the head. Look closely at them. Let's take them off. Look closely. The more I look at this thing, the more familiar it gets. Now let's look at the shape of the camshaft caps. On the Yamaha MT-07. And check out the oil passages, don't they look identical? Alright, let's check out the cylinder block. It's a ceramic composite cylinder. This kind of cylinder dissipates heat well, and has excellent wear resistance. For an engine with this much attitude, I already guessed they'd use this setup. Alright, let's look at the timing chain. The timing chain is made by Daido Japan. Let's take a close look at the pistons. These pistons are definitely forged pistons. And they are genuine factory parts. Let's check the piston rings. The piston rings are from Anqing, Anhui. Regarding this section, some people previously mentioned that it shares traits with the Kawasaki Ninja 400. And indeed, I do see a lot of similarities to the Kawasaki Ninja 400. This camshaft cap. Even if you flip it over, take a look. Compared to the Yamaha MT-07, the resemblance is incredibly high. So, in my personal opinion, CFMOTO's 270-degree design was benchmarked against Yamaha, while at the same time, they borrowed some elements from the Kawasaki Ninja 400. This is purely my personal take after tearing it down. But I personally believe that combining the best aspects of various designs to build an engine is completely justifiable. As riders, who cares if it's a copy or not? As long as you give me an engine that performs brilliantly and is tough and durable, that's what matters. It's perfectly fine to learn from and reference other things. Even Wei Yuan's illustrated treatise on the Maritime Kingdoms mentioned the idea of learning superior technology from foreigners to master them. Referencing isn't something to be ashamed of. It's just that a straight 1:1 clone feels a bit hard to defend. Let's appreciate this 270-degree crankshaft. This one is a 180-degree crank. And this one is a 270-degree crank. Look at the positions of the connecting rod journals. You can tell the difference at a single glance. Why is this engine's vibration so low? Take a look, everyone. It utilizes a dual balancer shaft design. There's one shaft here, and another shaft over here. With this setup, if you were to sacrifice comfort and remove one of the balancer shafts, the power output could be even stronger. Let's check out the bearing shells. I'm a bit puzzled by these bearing shells. They actually used aluminum-based shells. I'm completely scratching my head over this choice. Why on earth would they use aluminum-based bearings? Look at the Yamaha R6, it revs up to 18,000 revolutions per minute in neutral. And it uses copper-based shells. With lead plating. This really surprised me. Suddenly I understand why the oil pan is designed to be so deep. No one would dispute that copper-based bearings are better than aluminum-based ones, right? Look at four-cylinder engines, none of them would dare use aluminum-based shells. Let's bring the crankshaft over and check out the rod bearings. Actually, let's look at the crankshaft first. The owner bypassed the limiter to hit 15,000 revolutions per minute. Fortunately, nothing broke. What does 15,000 revolutions per minute feel like? The valve springs couldn't keep up. And there was a knocking sound. Look at the rod bearings. They are also aluminum-based. After the owner revved it to 15,000 revolutions per minute, the engine just stalled out right there. I wiped it down and checked. And it indeed turned out to be an aluminum base. The owner requested to upgrade them to copper-based bearings. Luckily, there are imported replacement parts available. Look at this connecting rod. It's a fracture split connecting rod. Among domestic Chinese motorcycles, CFMOTO is pretty much the only one using this. The owner asked to swap them for these imported copper-based bearings with lead plating. These are actually from a Honda model made by Daido. We'll replace both the rod bearings and main bearings with these. Of course, you can't just slap them right in. Notice the black paint on the sides of the original bearing shells. We need to use this color code to determine the clearance tolerance of the original shells, and then match it up with the Honda bearing shells that have the corresponding tolerance value. In this episode, we're assembling the CFMOTO 450SR engine. The bearings are being upgraded to Daido Copper-Based shells from Japan. These particular bearing shells are originally intended for a Kawasaki engine. To ensure the correct oil clearance, we chose the black-coated bearing shells here. Different colors represent different tolerance groups. The color is stamped on the side, just like this. The 450 using aluminum bearings from the factory still catches me off guard. Even their own 400 and 650 models use copper-based bearings. So this move really left me confused. Copper bearings are better than aluminum ones. That's common knowledge, right? I really don't get what CFMOTO was thinking here. As for this 270-degree crankshaft, CFMOTO did a very clean job on it. It features a dual balancer shaft design, which is why its vibration is so minimal. Once these bolts are torqued down, you have to turn them an additional 100 degrees. A 270-degree design naturally vibrates more than a standard 360-degree or 180-degree crankshaft. CFMOTO adding an extra balancer shaft was a smart move. Yet, I see some people who don't even own a 450, claiming that this bike vibrates like crazy. I honestly don't know where they get that from. I've torn down this engine layout completely, and it's clear as day right here. Let's check the torque sequence for these bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. They are all clearly marked on it. This dual balancer shaft setup is actually a first for me to see in a motorcycle engine. Even though it sacrifices a tiny bit of power, the riding experience is significantly improved. When this machine was launched with a 270-degree crank, I looked at the specs back then and thought to myself, if the vibration and sound profile turn out poorly, it's definitely going to face a wave of backlash. The thing with a 270-degree layout is, the exhaust note isn't traditionally smooth, and the vibration can be quite pronounced. So it was a real test for CFMOTO. My curiosity was totally piqued at the time. I instantly got this strong urge to tear down this CFMOTO 450. I didn't expect to get the chance to make it happen so soon. Regarding the engine's performance relative to its displacement, I don't really need to say much. Plenty of reviewers have already tested it, so you all probably know the deal by now. The only real concern I find is the bearing shell issue. Using aluminum shells, running it at high RPMs leaves you feeling a bit uneasy. Material-wise, though, they were quite generous with the build quality of this engine. Maybe because it's from the first production batch. Some owners told me their engines were seeping oil. I comforted them by saying, look at KTM bikes. Which KTM doesn't seep oil? As long as it's not actively dripping, just ride with peace of mind. In the previous teardown video, a lot of people called this a Frankenstein copy, but in my personal view, regardless of how it was patched together, gathering the best features of different designs to produce a working engine is still a massive step forward. This engine actually shows me a glimmer of hope for domestic Chinese engines. Because in the past, domestic engines always copied this or that, making exact 1:1 replicas. With this machine, finally, we are seeing a power plant built with original thinking behind it. So, I really hope domestic manufacturing grows stronger and stronger. Alright, that's it for this part. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like. What review? Let's roll the installation footage. Since I just applied assembly lube to the parts, you'll see some blue smoke at startup, but it clears up immediately.